Yeah, you know where you are, right? This is Drumsticks Sunday channel. I am Alberto Iglesias, and here we have a different pair of drumsticks every week. Okay? How are you? How's everybody? I hope you're doing fantastic. Let's talk about drumsticks. This week I told you at the end of the last video. At the end of the last video, I told you that I was gonna try the signature model from one of the big guys in this business, which is Mr. Dave Weckl. Okay, this is a signature model from VicFirth. I'll explain something interesting about this in a minute. But first of all, I have to say, as always, who is Dave Weckl? Because I've just done the Spanish version of the video and I almost forgot to show the picture. So let's start with that, okay? Here you have Mr. Dave Weckl. Cool. So, well, what I have, I'm afraid there's nothing I can say to add something different to who is Dave Weckl. Everything has been said, I think, so far. He's like in the case of Colaiuta, and that it's one of the big guys. They have written the history of this instrument. But this, I think, well, he's been playing with tons of different people. If you go to the webpage, but let me tell you something, by the way. What the hell happens with the web pages in the drum business? Okay, okay. I work with that too, so I have a little bit of criteria, I think. Okay, let's say that somebody had to have a look at that. Okay, it's all I'm gonna say. But if you go to the web page from the Weckl, you can find out tons of people and different musicians and bands and all that. Okay, I can say like Diana Ross in the past, now Chick Corea, Mike Stern, well, many very, very important people, musicians. But if I have to say something comparing that with the case of Colaiuta, I would say that maybe Colaiuta has been playing with more mainstream bands and singers and all that. In the case of Weckl, I think he's been more focused on jazz fusion and maybe people which is not so mainstream or not for everybody, but there are amazing bands, amazing musicians and all that. And that's what I would say, okay? Comparing those two cases, the case of Colaiuta and Weckl. But anyway, you can see the list of bands, and maybe your computer is gonna explode when you open that list. Okay, so of course you can have a look. I'm not gonna say anything about the way he plays because it's unbelievable. You can go to the webpage, to YouTube, for example, and search videos from Weckl. And if you've been playing along from sometimes, you know for sure who Weckl is. And I have to be honest, like in the case of Colaiuta, because I started so late in my life in drum, I didn't knew Weckl in the super 80s and 90s, which is the super, they were super, they were the coolest thing to watch, no? Nowadays there's a lot of people, different people of course and all that, but Weckl is one of the big guys and it's gonna be forever for sure. It's part of the history of this instrument. So check him out, please. The time control, subdivisions, and your mind's gonna explode for sure. So let's talk about the drumsticks now, and let's start with the picture. I think it's the best way to avoid to forget the picture. So here you have a picture of the signature model from VicFirth from Dave Weckl. Cool. Okay, I'm going to start with maybe one of the most important things. first of all, this is not the current model from Weckl, because apparently he redesigned his signature model. I don't know how much time ago, but now the current model is called the Evolution model. Apparently it was redesigned because Weckl changed a little bit the way he plays and the music and all that. So he just decided to redesign the drumstick. So the current model is the Evolution, which is orange. This is the first model apparently. But anyway, I think it's somebody requests to test the Weckl model. But anyway, I haven't looked at because it's okay. This model has to be here, okay? Because Weckl is one of the big guys. So I think it's better if I try first the old model, and then I don't know, a few weeks later I can try the other one, so we can talk about the differences and compare two models and all that. So I've started with the first one. Another thing I have to say is you have this model with the nylon tip. No difference, a little bit of extra ride, a little bit of more. Well, okay, the response is maybe slightly different, not too much, honestly, but it's the same model. I'm not gonna try two options. First of all, I prefer wood tip, but anyway, the main difference between those two is always that kind of ride, a little bit of sound. Not so much, I think, in the response, but. At least you have both options in the VicFirth catalog. Okay. Okay, the sizes and all that. Let's start with the sizes are about the grip. It's 0.560. The length is 16 plus a quarter. We have medium to long, I would say, taper, barrel tip. Pretty clear in this case, and it's hickory with this red color. Okay, so they are painted. Okay, let's translate that as always. What does it mean? Okay, if we think about the grip, 0.560, which is a little bit less than this regular 5A, which is 0.565, just a little bit, but. Is that about the length? We have 16 plus a quarter, so in this case we have a little bit more than a regular 16 inches long, so they are thinner and longer than a 5A. Okay. About the taper, it's kind of medium. I would say medium to long, in my opinion. In the page they say medium. Okay, sometimes I said okay, this is medium, but I would say more closer maybe to the short. In this case, I would say closer to long taper. And the barrel tip, pretty clear. I think in this case it's kind of big, maybe for big. I would say compared with the thickness and with this specific model. Okay. Nothing else. It's painted and hickory. Okay. Okay, about the response. Well, first of all, I'm kind of happy this week because I was capable of notice that two main difference with the 5A. They are thinner and they are longer. Thinner was kind of my first impression when I hold that. When I get this pair, I hold it in my hand and I say, okay, looks like a 5A, but a little bit thinner. This is, of course, I'm in freak mode, so I'm trying different pair every week, so it's kind of easier each time to realize or notice that kind of things. It's just a question of practice and nothing else. About the length is something that I realized when I started playing, because in my case, I usually don't. It usually doesn't fit very well. In my case, the extra lengths in general. I also have to say that I mentioned that in the past. So I think sometimes it's just a question of the rest of the drumstick. It's not only a question of length, because I remember that other times I've been playing with longer drumstick, but I didn't notice that, or it was comfortable for me. Sometimes they are huge drumsticks, so it makes sense that they are also they have extra length. In this case, because we are closer to a 5A, it's like I notice more that, and don't like. Well, I really like it in traditional grip. I don't know why, but it kind of feels better in my hand when I have an extra length. But with with pair grip, it's like I don't know how to express, but I prefer the regular 16 in that case. Okay, what else? So it's I would say that if you like, I would say if you are more a 5B guy and all that, well, especially the thickness, you're gonna notice that. Maybe the length not so much, but it's just so personal in that case. As I always mention, the grip and the length is something that you it's up to you. It's if it fits or not, if you like it or not. It works with what you want, all that. So in my case, I would say that the thickness I get used pretty fast. I think it's the same like in the 85A, I think, from VicFirth, which is the model that Mark Juliana is using. I think they have also this thickness. I'm not sure, but I think. So if you are a 5A guy or gal, it's pretty, in my opinion, it's easy to get used to this. If you are more 5B or 2B and all that, okay, you have to work on that, okay? But you can give it a try for sure. What else? About the other, for me, the most important part, honestly, about the taper, I'm not sure if, I mean, the response is okay, nothing peculiar, nothing strange, but I think that the combination, in this case, the combination of taper and extra length is not working in my case, not as good as in other cases. I don't know why, honestly, I don't know how to express what's happening, but when I'm rolling, that it's like I can notice that extra length is not working for me. But for sure, if you like extra, if you like longer drumsticks, you're gonna love it. It's up to you again. So it's something like I think it's that combination, okay? But nothing strange about the taper, okay? It's I would say maybe the response is a little bit better than in a regular 5A, but it's maybe not always. Not only because of the taper. It's just a combination of also the thickness and all that. The weight and what I think is really really curious is the tip. Why? Because when we have a variable tip, there's a tendency, especially in my case, to think, when I see this, it's like, this is like a round tip. So I'm gonna get a little focus sound, more definition and all that. Not so true. Why? Because variable tip is not round tip exactly. When we have variable tip, we have more surface. It's like we have a flat surface here. It's like the same idea as with an oval tip, where you have more length, of course, but you have a lot of surface here. So in this case, even when it looks like a round tip, but it's not a round tip. If you think about it, when you're touching the cymbal or the drum head, you have more surface here. In a round tip, you have only one more point of contact. But in this case, especially in this case, like it's generous variable tip, it's not really small. It's I think that you can notice that. So what happens is like you're getting also a lot of overtones of the cymbals, full tone, and all that. So in this case, I was wrong. When I see that the drumstick, I thought my first impression, but I'm gonna get a lot of definition and all that. Honestly, not so much. You get a lot of tone of the cymbal, especially of the ride, and it's something that was for me curious when I started, and I realized, it's my mistake. It's like that tendency to think like, this is a round tip. It's not a round tip. Also, you have, but in this case, it's not a round tip. If you think about the angle of that, again, if you move the angle, then you start having less surface touching, so you get more definition. Not as extreme as in the case of oval tip or arrow tip and all that. but you can work a little bit with that too when you play. But okay, that's something that okay. I realized that I was wrong when I started playing. So that's something about the tip. You can expect a little bit of overtones or more full tone of the cymbal. And about the general response, I would say that it's you can't expect a lot of fat sound from these drumsticks when you play, especially with the snare. In the case of the snare, it's like, I think it's because of the thickness and the taper and even the tip, all that combination. You don't get a lot of full power, full tone. You get more of the smack, more of the definition, which obviously works really great with jazz fusion, with funky and all that. Fusion in general works really, really great. Perfect sound for that, I think. But if you work more with rock, more heavier styles, I think you're gonna miss a little bit of that, okay? Oh, again, you have this option. You know, in fact, in my case, when I was playing some songs and all that for practicing, and it was a rock sound and all that, and I was, okay, I need a little more of that. Oof, I was immediately changing to this, which is great. You can do that for sure. It's perfect for that. That's something that many people like. Okay, with this I have both options. But sometimes this is too much. You want more sound, but you want also a better response. Like in this case, the taper here, it's, well, you know. So it's something that I think you have to pay attention to that. And if you start playing something like, okay, these are really designed for what he wanted, and I think fits perfectly with the kind of sound and all that stuff. But even in his case, he decided to change. So maybe when we study the other model, we can compare and we can see. For me, even without testing that, I kind of think that the nylon tip version is not going to work for me. It's just an idea. I'm not sure. Of course, I haven't tried that, but it's like maybe in my case. I prefer the wood tip in this combination because maybe the nylon tip is going to be too much for me. More, you know, the kind of sound you get, the bright, combined with this. If I decide to go with this kind of drumsticks, I have enough brightness, in my opinion. But again, it's up to you. Many people prefer nylon tip because love the sound, love the response, and all that. They are normally they are harder, so that's perfect. But in my case, I think I would prefer this one. Just guessing, of course. And okay, just to end up, maybe about the paint, like always, it's up to you if you like it or not. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of things that it's up to you, but that's the thing of trying. No, as I was mentioned, I prefer natural wood finish. In this case, I think you can notice the wood, it's kind of more artificial feeling in your hand. Artificial, not in a bad way, many people like that. So, but I prefer, in general, at least so far, I prefer the wood finish. Okay, so I have to say, good drumsticks, but I think I think they work really great in that area, in that, you know, fusion, jazz, and all that stuff. For rock and heavier styles, I think you're gonna miss a little bit of that power that you get from. But that's why they are designed. I think, in my opinion, that's why they are a signature model. It's completely up to the sound that the player is looking for, and of course, if you check, I'm pretty sure Weckl is able to make this sound the way he wants. But he's like Weckl, of course. Okay, nothing else to say. Good drumstick, have it, you know, give them a try if you can, and let's wait to the evolution model to compare the changes and all that. Okay. Okay, I have something to about some news for the next week. It's not gonna we are not gonna have video next week. yeah, you know, it's been super hard for you, but no, the thing is this week I'm not gonna have a lot of time to try, and I think just trying 1 or 2 days is not the point of this, so I need a little bit more of time. So we have 14 days in front of us, okay? You have a lot of time to practice and to try drumstick and to send questions and all that, okay? Nothing else. Have a nice week. Sorry, have a nice 2 weeks, and see you in 14 days, okay? Goodbye.